Although food sustains us, many food industry practices are far from healthy. From worker rights in the restaurant business to animal welfare and factory farming, studies show there's much room for improvement. In Los Angeles, two organizations aim to address these issues and want to start within the Jewish community. Recent studies have revealed widespread abuse and exploitation of restaurant workers across America. Thousands of workers are paid below minimum wage. Even more are denied their legal rights to overtime pay and time off. The kosher community is not immune to the issue. In 2009, Agri-Processors Kosher Meat Company was shut down after violations of immigration laws, child labor laws, and financial fraud were exposed.
You know, the issues have really been brought to light, the ethical issues in the broader community, and the proper warning has been given to all the establishments. And so those that are still abusing workers or abusing animals know they're doing it where transparency can be made known. And so it's our belief that rather than wait for the government to crack down on the industry, we as Jews should hold ourselves accountable and be willing to expose those problems. And rather than that being a shame upon the community, that's a pride to the community when we clean up our own shops first.
That was Rabbi Shmuley Yanklowitz. Named one of America's most influential rabbis, he is also the founder of Uri L'Tzedek, a social justice organization that has created an ethical hechsher called Tav HaYosher.
The Tav HaYosher is an ethical seal for kosher establishments, which promotes the value of worker justice in kashrut, to ensure that when one goes to buy a kosher product, that the worker is also paid properly, given the proper time off, and shown the proper dignity. That it's not only kosher but also yosher. That it's ritually okay and also morally okay.
The Tav certification should not, however, be confused with kosher hechshers or seals.
It does not in any way have to do with my food. It doesn't say that my food is kosher. I have supervision by Kehila Supervision in Los Angeles. We adhere to their standards. The Tav is totally separate.
BB's Warmstone Bakery in Los Angeles was the 100th restaurant in the United States to receive the ethical stamp.
There are pros and cons to every decision you make. Tav HaYosher asks for 3 basic criteria in the way that you interact with your employees and the way that you treat them. All of those things ultimately cost you money, because if you're paying them for breaks or if you're paying overtime or keeping track of hours specifically, it comes out of your net profit. I was really surprised at how simple the standards that they were asking me to hold by were. It was almost as if they were saying, you should have clean dishes, you should refrigerate your food. These are obvious things that we were doing anyway, and are reasonable for any business owner to do.
The inspiration for the ethical seal came from Israel's Tav Chavrati certification, which gives patrons the peace of mind that the restaurant they are at treats workers ethically. 350 restaurants have already signed on and been awarded the seal. Though the reaction has been mostly positive, critics say it unfairly implies that restaurants without the seal are not in compliance with the law or are treating their workers unethically.
There have been a couple of orders that were canceled after we got the Tav. Some organizations that, in my opinion, were misinformed about what the Tav stands for, what the people behind the Tav stand for. But they're allowed to cancel their order. I decided that it was more important for me to feel good about running the business than maybe cut a few corners.
The ambition for social justice around food doesn't end with worker rights. Another organization called Shemaim Va'aretz advocates for the humane treatment of animals in slaughterhouses. The organization intends to counter the worldwide, though controversial, practice of factory farming, which by nature promotes disease among the animals and has negative environmental consequences. The system is popular, though, because it makes business sense, creating the highest output at the lowest cost.
Before we can go and try to make other systems more ethical, we said, how do we as Jews take our own system, that's the kosher establishments, and make sure they represent the highest values? And today, in a world where we're more aware of the suffering inflicted upon creatures and very aware of the alternatives we have to living healthy lives without the consumption of animals, we should take responsibility for. We should use our power to protect those that are most vulnerable. For that sense, we should see ourselves primarily as stewards who are responsible for other sentient beings.
The group also advocates for a vegan diet free of all animal products, which they believe will counter obesity trends and unethical farming practices. Because restaurant worker rights and factory farming practices are widespread far beyond the kosher industry, the road ahead is sure to be long. But these organizations hope that their work will inspire other communities to proactively ensure everyone gets a fair cut. For JN1 in Los Angeles, I'm Laura Berman.